Hello, everybody. Welcome to Miss Beth's place, and I'm in my kitchen tonight. We're going to make meatloaf. I had a special request from my daughter, who loves meatloaf. Her husband loves meatloaf more than she does, though. But she asked me would I make a meatloaf video so that she can make meatloaf for her husband tomorrow. So this is how I make my meatloaf. Everybody's is different. I mean, it's like making collard greens. It's like making dressing. Anything you make in the South, everybody's got their own recipe. This is how I do it. Now, I started by chopping up a fourth of an onion and a fourth of a bell pepper. I don't like my onion and my bell pepper to be crunchy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right over here to my stove and I'm going to put this in a little frying pan and I'm going to saute it till it's soft while I'm getting my other stuff together. So put this over here. Let that sweat it up. I'm not gonna cook it all like mushy. I'm just gonna cook it up till it's tender. All right. I've got about 1.5 pounds of hamburger meat here. This is good fresh hamburger meat. I'm gonna put everything in this bowl. Simple. I'm gonna use 2 eggs. I'm not gonna beat the eggs up. I'm gonna do this with my hands tonight. I've got some breadcrumbs and some cracker crumbs. Now these breadcrumbs are from some of my fresh bread I made the other day. If you want to see that recipe for my fresh bread, you can go search it up, as my grandson says. So this is some pretty bread. Anytime you make a whole loaf of bread, the new bread, it doesn't last that long. So you have to use it up. You have to find things to use it up. So I put mine in the refrigerator, and this is what I had left over. It was just a little chunk. So if you was going to use loaf of bread, you would probably use about 3 or 4 pieces, just finely mushed up. I'm going to dump that over in there. Now, I told y'all I love to season as I go. So I'm going to season as I go. I got to stir this up. That was probably good. I'm going to get my onion and my pepper that I sauteed up. You don't have to cook yours. That's just how I do mine. Like I said, everybody's got their own recipe. I've got a 1/2 cup of, this is Heinz ketchup, because that's the only kind of ketchup I'll eat. So I've got a 1/2 cup of that. It goes in it. All these ingredients are just to bind up your meatloaf. It's kind of like when you make salmon croquettes, like I also made the other day. You have to put all this stuff in there to bind up that meatloaf. Now, those peppers and onions is a little hot, but I'm going to put a little salt in there. Not much, because there's salt in I've had a few crackers in there, so they got salt on them. I'm going to put my seasoning, probably about a good tablespoon, because this is the bomb diggity. I put this in everything. Probably about a tablespoon, maybe. All right. Now, I'm going to take my rings off because this is going to get messy. So, the best way to make meatloaf is with your hands, honey. So, you go in there with them hands and you just do this right here. Just do it like that. Like you're kneading dough. Kind of looks like you're making dough. You want to get those eggs all mushed in there. You squeeze it between your fingers. I know y'all thinking, that's just gross. Well, it's kind of feels yucky, but hey, that's how you got to do it. Get her done. And it just basically makes the loaf. I mean, if you keep mushing it, and you keep turning it over in that bowl and squeeze it between your fingers, it just comes together as a loaf. Now I've got my loaf pan here all ready to go. It's been a while since I made a meatloaf. My mom used to make meatloafs a lot. Some people love them or they don't. It's not my favorite thing to eat, but if I know somebody else wants it, I'll make it for them. I'm also making tonight my good old mashed potatoes with butter and mayonnaise in them, and some turnip greens with my good old Goya ham seasoning in them. So I think that'll all go good together. So, all right, I got this all mushed together in a big loaf. All stirred. I say stirred. It's mushed together. You can see here. I'm just gonna take it out. Look at there. It's already a loaf. Just take it and put it over in your loaf pan. Now, if you don't have a meatloaf pan like this, this little dish, just put it on a pan, regular pan with some aluminum foil up underneath it or some parchment paper underneath it. Now, don't that look good? Now, let me clean my mess up here and wash my hands real quick. Because y'all know I love to wash dishes and love to keep my hands clean. Somebody asked me the other day, why did you say you love to wash dishes like 4 times or more in that video? And I said, because my husband thinks it's funny because I like to wash dishes. I hate dishwashers. It's not that I really love to wash dishes. I just hate dishwashers. So I've got that in my pan. Now, you got to have a topping on your meatloaf. Some people will bake it for a while and then they'll put the ketchup on there. I actually put the ketchup on there when I'm making it. So before I put it in the oven. Now I got my oven set. I'm going to put it on 400. Make sure I don't have anything in there. Nope. I'm going to put me some pretty ketchup on there, just like that right there. Kind of like decorating a cake. Now, some people like to put brown sugar on theirs. I saw a really good recipe the other day. Somebody put brown sugar. They put bacon. You don't need all that stuff. That's all you need. Don't that look yummy? So I'm going to pop this in my oven on 4. What did I say I was going to put it on? 400. And I'm going to cook this at least about 30 minutes. When it gets done, you'll know it because you'll be able to see through the dish. You'll see that it's done. And this will be kind of caramelized on top. It'll be so good. But 400 degrees for at least 30 to 40 minutes. And I'll be right back. Okay. Now, my cousin, who loves to watch my YouTube videos, because she gets to see her cousin from down south. She lives in Georgia. She don't get to see that often, and I miss her. So this one's for Madeline. She told me what to do. So she told me to go get some Martha White Cotton Country cornbread. You get it at the grocery store. It's like $1 and something a pack. She said, do not go by the directions. So I'm going to do it like she told me to. If it ain't right, it's her fault. Mix that, put that in my bowl. Mix in 1 egg. And 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. So 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. I went and got the stuff at the store just for her. I think that's 3/4. Yeah. 3/4 of a cup. So I'm going to pour that in there. Buttermilk makes stuff really good. I don't really care for buttermilk. I will not drink it. I will not drink it out of the jug, but I love to put it in my recipes. So she didn't say to put any salt or pepper in it, but I like to put my Jack and Jill and everything. So I'll put a little pepper in there, and I'm gonna put a little salt in there because bread is good with a little salt in it. And mix that egg up and that buttermilk. And she told me to get my skillet or my pan, put some oil in it, and get that oil in that pan warmed up. So I've got it over here on my stove, on low. It's just warming. It's on the warmer. If y'all got a recipe you want me to make, if you got something that you love to make and you want me to try it out, hey, send it to me. Comment down below and tell me what you want me to make, and I'll make it for you. That's mixed up good. I'm going to come over here and put this in my skillet, and I'm going to cook it in the oven for 16 to 20 minutes on 400. Well, I already got my oven trying to heat up to 400, so here we go. Put this in here. It looks like it's the right consistency. All right. Now I'm going to put that in the oven, and I'm going to cook it for 20 minutes. Hope it turns out good. And when I come back, I'll let y'all know how good it is when I eat it with my turnip greens and my mashed potatoes and my homemade meatloaf and my good old Martha White cornbread. I'll see y'all back in a minute. Okay, I think the meatloaf's about done, y'all. I want you to check out what's on the counter, though. So I got my cornbread done for my cousin Madeline. She said to flip it over on a plate, and I did. She said, this is Georgia cornbread, but it won't fall apart like normal Georgia cornbread does. So we're going to see when I cut into it. Got me some turnip greens cooked, some mashed potatoes cooked. And if y'all want to see the recipe for how I do those, go to my salmon croquette video, and I've got them on there also. So I'm fixing to open this oven and get this out. I'm going to turn this off because I know it's done. It's just a boiling. Now, I got a little trick that I do for my meatloaf because I do not like anything greasy meat. So what I'm going to do is, see how that's cooking? See the grease bubbling around the edges? So what you do is you come up here to this. I got me a bowl over here. Oh, that's hot. And I'm just going to tilt it over onto the edge there and give it a little shake and try to get most of that oil out. Whew, that's hot. All right. It's still a little bit, but hey, you got to have a little moisture. So I've got my meatloaf for my daughter, Sydney. I've got my turnip greens, my mashed potatoes, and my good old cornbread for my cousin Madeline. Now, while she's looking, because I know she's looking, I'm going to cut into this. It's browner on the bottom, but on the top is a little bit lighter. So look at that, y'all. Hey, it ain't got no crumbles. It ain't falling apart. Let's see what it tastes like. Hey, that buttermilk makes it good. Use it right now, and that's some good cornbread. I think I'm going to use your recipe from now on. So, I'm going to put me some mashed potatoes over here. So good. And some turnip greens. And I cooked them with that good old Goya ham seasoning. Remember I told y'all? I'm just going to put a little bit on here to taste it. The meatloaf. Now this meatloaf, there's only just me and my husband here, so this meatloaf, we'll probably eat the whole thing. At some point anyways. It's going to fall apart on me. So let me see if I can go in here like with this. and get it over here. I was hoping I'd get the money shot on it. But hey, if it looks good, sometimes it don't always taste good. But honey, I've had some food that looked terrible and it tasted the best to me. Kind of like when I make a cake, it crumbles all to pieces. I don't do cakes very well. But I might try one if y'all ask me to. So I'm going to get my fork here. If y'all hadn't noticed it, these forks, we like to go to Disney a lot. And these forks have Mickey Mouse ears. My husband wanted me to have these because we love Mickey Mouse and we love going to Disney. So I'll get my Mickey Mouse fork here. And I'm going to go in and taste this good old meatloaf with some that caramelized ketchup on the top. Gonna burn my tongue. Y'all, you know how I said meatloaf wasn't my favorite? I changed my mind. I think this is my favorite. That's good. That's really good. Yeah. Hey, I'm so glad y'all came to my kitchen tonight at Miss Beth's place. And if y'all have any comments, please feel free to make them below. Let me know what you think about this. And if you try it, let me know how you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so you can see all my videos in the future. Just ring that little bell down below. And y'all have a blessed night, and I'll see you on the next one.
How you doing?